Hey peeps, welcome to the channel. My name is Aziz and I'm a guy that's just trying to figure out his life. And in this video, I'll be sharing with you how I used to spend money like there was no tomorrow, zero plans for my future, and honestly just living on vibes. And then I'll be sharing with you how I finally got my shit together. Let's get into it. The first job I had was a labor job, and that was working basically in a factory. I was making good amount of money for the expenses I had at the time. But when I had my first paycheck, I remember, blowing that in like 2 days, just spending it on random products, clothes, takeouts, stuff I didn't, really need. And when I bought them, I felt good, but for just 1 second or for some, short period of time, then I was back to zero. And that became a pattern really fast. I'd get paid, then feel this rush like, all right, time to reward myself. It didn't really matter what I bought. I just wanted to feel good about myself. I thought having money meant, okay, we can spend it. And if I had some new shoes or a fresh jacket, then maybe it would, look like I had my life together. The truth is, I was just covering up how lost I felt without even noticing it. I had no goals with money, no direction. I was honestly just reacting to life. I didn't even think about my future, and my thoughts of planning ahead was really just hoping nothing bad would happen. At one point, I had 2 jobs and I was even driving Uber on the side, so that's technically 3 jobs. Like, I was always on the move. Wake up early, work, eat something quick, work again, drive at night. I barely had time to breathe or, do any other activities like playing soccer, for example. But even with all that effort, I had nothing to show, nothing to back it up. I wasn't really stacking money. I wasn't building anything. I was just surviving and not even doing that well. Every time I got paid, the money disappeared so fast. Honestly, 1 second it was in my account. The next it was like, poof, gone, just like out of my account. And I justify it. I'd say it's just a little here, a little there, but those little things added up quickly. And what made it worse is really my mindset. I used to think, hey, if I'm only $1,000 in debt, I'm fine, I'm cool, I'm okay. Like, that was normal. Imagine, like, being in the negative was just part of the game. That's how used to being broke I was. I didn't even think it was a problem. People used to say, Aziz, you're so generous, bro. We really appreciate you. And, yeah, I liked hearing that. That made me feel good about myself. It made me think like I wasn't selfish and I was doing the right thing. But looking back, I wasn't really actually being generous and I wasn't really doing the right thing. I just didn't see the problem. I didn't realize I was doing too much. If someone needed something and I had the money, I would just spend it. I would have absolutely no second thoughts. I thought that's just what you do when you care about people that you care about. So I'd pick up the tab, buy people gifts, cover things I probably shouldn't have. Not because I was trying to show off and not because I was scared to say no. I just didn't think there was anything wrong with it. But the truth is, I was giving out money when I couldn't really afford it myself. I wasn't building anything for me. I thought, I was being a good person, but I was putting myself in a deeper hole without even noticing. There was a night I'd honestly never forget. I was sitting on my bed, completely drained. I had no energy, no motivation, and I still had bills coming in. I checked my account and felt this tightness in my chest. I had nothing left. I kept asking myself, how am I working this hard, but still this broke? Like, it just didn't make sense to me anymore. And that's when it hit me. It wasn't my job. It wasn't the system. It wasn't bad luck. It was me. It was just me. I was the one making these choices. I was the one avoiding the truth. I just had to be real with myself and tell myself that I was the problem. That was the moment everything started to shift. Not because I got a raise or landed, a new gig, but because I was honest with myself. By the way, if you're still vibing with this story, do me a solid, drop a like, leave a comment, and hit that subscribe button. It really helps me keep this channel going and reach more people who would be interested in these type of content. Let's get back to it. So I stopped going out just to escape. I stopped buying stuff just to feel better about myself. That's when I really reached out to one of my closest friends. I told him everything, basically, with no filters, just raw honesty. I said, bro, I don't know what I'm doing with my finances, but I definitely need help. And he didn't judge me or anything. Well, maybe a little bit, but what he did, he actually sat down with me, opened up my laptop and created a financial spreadsheet for me. That's how nice he was. He created basically tabs for income, expenses, monthly tracker, and balance sheet to forecast how much I should save for the rest of the year. And by the way, I will definitely link the spreadsheet down below in the description, so feel free to download it. And just keep in mind, you will have to update a couple things on the spreadsheet, so obviously use your judgment in there. And if you have any questions about it, leave me a comment. I will be more than happy to help you guys with it. Anyways, to go back to the story, that spreadsheet really became everything to me. It gave me so much clarity on where my money was going. And to be honest, I was so shocked. I was spending ridiculous amount of money on shitty stuff like clothes from the UK, and then paying custom fees on top of that, which the fees were roughly around $100 or $200. I was buying shoes even though I had so many already. Now, once I saw the full picture, I honestly couldn't unsee it anymore. I knew where to cut back. I made some changes, small changes, like less takeouts, no more buying things just to feel good about myself, and starting saying no to a lot of things. It wasn't easy at first. Sometimes obviously I'd slip up, but I kept going, and by taking those small steps, I started climbing out that hole. I slowly paid off my debt, which was around 6K if I remember correctly. Yeah, around 6K. And when that weight lifted, I felt like I could breathe again. I had a life again. I could actually think a lot more clearer now. Then I started saving my money, which is a very hard thing to do for me at the time. And then after I saved some money, I also started investing, and nothing complicated, just in simple stuff. But seeing my investments go up was honestly the coolest thing ever. And the craziest part is I actually started sleeping better. I was less stressed. I stopped panicking every time an unexpected expense popped up, like an issue with the car, changing tires, changing brakes. I actually had money sitting in my account, and that gave me peace. Now I live differently. I don't care about flexing. I never did, to be honest. I just did all that for me. Made me feel good about myself, but I stopped chasing fashion trends. I live simple, but I also live smart, and more than anything, I actually live with peace of mind. And to me, that's honestly everything. I know where my money goes. I know I can handle life when it gets messy, and I feel like I'm, in control again. So yeah, that was a quick video. And obviously, if you're someone who's working hard but still broke, just know you're not alone. I've been there. I know exactly what that stress feels like. But you don't really have to stay there. And remember, you don't need to make more money to start changing. Obviously, it depends on your situation, but really focus on what you can control before blaming your salary or others for your poor decisions. You just need to stop lying to yourself and be honest with yourself. And that's where the real shift, begins. Anyways, if you want to learn more about me, click the video on the screen. It's basically a video where I shared my story and where I came from. Peace.